You also know that there's yeah, 240 viewers right now on the damn thing.
Oh, it shows you the viewership? That's dope.
Yeah, if you look at the top right, buy Bitcoin in Canada, and then viewers, it's like 230, 238.
That's it, eh? 200 people watching. That's so funny. That's cool, though.
No, it was a great site, man. I don't know where the hell you come across this stuff, but like, awesome.
Yeah, I tend to, well, honestly, most of it is like X.
Was it from the gala? Did somebody talk to you about Bitcoin there?
No, there was very little talk about Bitcoin at the gala.
Oh,
$14 million raised, though, at the gala. It was pretty crazy.
wow.
Right there on the spot, yeah. Multiple,
right there.
Right there on the spot, yeah, with people standing up, willing to donate. Certain companies were like, we'll do 100,000. Chad Kruger did 100,000. Bill Gates was there. He only did 50,000. I was like, Bill, come on.
Bill Gates was there?
Yeah, I saw Bill Gates. I didn't talk to him. I made eye contact, and the guy gave him a head nod. And, yeah, it was a little bit depressing, actually. The guy seems quite upset, and he was there by himself. It was really weird.
Doesn't have the greatest name, right?
Yeah, no, and nobody really, seemed like nobody really wanted to talk to him or have anything to do with him. I kind of felt bad. I was like, wow, Bill Gates is, not looking so good. He's just not looking very happy right now. I felt bad for him. I was like, man, I should just go talk to him, but, yeah, it was kind of odd. There was I don't know.
And then, so what was this gala? I mean, Bill Gates is there for some,
yeah, Bill Gates was there. Prince Harry was there with Meg.
It was a pretty big thing. So what was it for?
David Foster Foundation 40th anniversary.
Oh,
yeah, it was good.
So that's got to be like a.
Let's do a little audio check here.
David Foster Foundation.
All right. Video, audio sounds good. Welcome to Surely Sound Studio, folks. We're going to get going here pretty quickly. Remember, if you're watching this not live, put it in 1.25x or 1.5x or something. Speed it up because time is your most precious asset and do not waste it. But of course, watch to the end because we're going to go over some crazy stuff here shortly. And so let's get going. And if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. Let's run the intro. And let's roll. Hey, folks. Welcome back to Surely Sound Studio. My name is Martin. You can call me Marty. This is my show. So let's go. I wish you well. I wish you wealth. I hope everyone's doing well today. We got AK in the house. What's happening, brother?
Oh, same old. Just getting around, moving a little bit finally. So looking to get out today.
Back's feeling okay?
Yeah. So
turn the music down a little bit. I think we got pretty good here on the audio. Everything looks good. Yeah, a few things we're going to talk about today, folks. Very interesting stuff happening right now. We have a decentralized war happening. Of course, a decentralized versus centralized has been happening for a long time. Centralized side took let's say the decentralized side took a big hit yesterday when it comes to Bitcoin mining and running nodes and the back end of how Bitcoin works. We're going to talk about that. If you were with us here just in the intro portion of the section, we were talking about the David Foster Foundation I had dinner with Bill Gates on Friday night, believe it or not. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit, and a couple other folks that were there, some of the impact that these people have on the financial system. Just a few things that I picked up from the event itself. And then, of course, we're going to kind of figure out what this all means for Bitcoin and the history of assets like this, so we can use that moving forward to kind of predict what we think is going to happen, most probable to happen here in the next coming years. So let's get into it first by checking out. This is a cool little website here where you can see the Bitcoin price and an actual battle. And AK, I don't know if you want to give her a brief description. You just read about it. May as well tell me what you were seeing.
Absolutely, because it actually means more than what it basically just looks like what's going on. So when you see the little small infantry guys and the tanks and things like that, that's kind of small movements going on that are affecting the price.
Mm-hmm.
When you're seeing the large events like the rocket strikes, the jet strikes, bombing runs, and all the other cool stuff right there,
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot more large scale things happening. Right, it's great because it also shows, market pressure indicators. Oh no, yeah, you still got to sign up for an account.
I clicked on something. I was trying to get rid of that box. It worked, but then it did that. But we're back. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah,
Carry on.
No, you got buy walls. It's great. It's live market feed that makes it a lot more fun, a lot more interesting.
Mm-hmm. So 48 million roughly buy wall, 45 million sell wall. Pretty even right now. Let's hop into the charts. This is going to be sort of a super fun thing to pay attention to in the coming, just the future really, because it's like shows you, like you said, it's so much more information than most people are able to absorb by looking just at a chart. So this is kind of breaking it down and making it easier for everybody else to kind of comprehend, and it's just in a different way, right? Like everybody learns differently. So anything like this, is just another way that more people will be able to come into the space and understand it, right? And it's all about relativity. You can teach anything to anybody as long as you find the common denominator of relativity that makes sense to them, and then you can explain anything. So this is cool because this kind of stuff is just a example of more innovation, more people working towards making it consumable for everybody, because Bitcoin is supposed to be for everybody. That was the whole point. Of course, when you're a cryptographer and you spend your life with other people that do that type of stuff, you might skip the fact that not everybody understands the things you understand. So you do what you do, right? And then kind of figure it out after for everybody else. And finally, we've had things like this come along and other such things.
Well, the website, it gives you a whole lot of more information and everything too. You could just have multiple links open.
Yeah, absolutely.
Use the battlefield as a visual to be like, oh, something just happened. Well, let's go look at it. Let's go look at the market.
Absolutely. And you've got your investment tools here: Bitcoin retirement calculator, Bitcoin DCA calculator, Bitcoin versus gold correlation. That's going to be good. Bitcoin versus silver. A lot of good stuff on this website. This is newhedge.io. Highly recommend everybody come and give it a look through, because there's lots of information on here. You could spend hours, days, years watching all this stuff, and if it helps you, then that's what we're here for. Let's go to the charts though and see what's happening though, because we are actually breaking out a little bit here. And if you were with us last week, this is kind of exactly what we were talking about potentially happening here. I believe we were about here. Where was Sunday? Yeah, we were here last time. We came down, and I talked about, lower prices if we get rejected by the POC. We did get previously rejected by the POC a couple times before actually breaking up above it, and then doing exactly what I said to look out for, getting on top of it, breaking here, and getting on top of it and breaking up. So looks like a A little bit of this is sort of towards the end of the week here. Beginning of the week was looking good for the Bears, but the end of the week was looking good for the Bulls. Question now is, will the Bulls be able to maintain this throughout this week? Of course, this is the weekend price action. We've just gone sideways with a little bit of a pump this morning, but still clearly massive bearish selling, massive resistance, but making higher lows as we come up to it. So we're getting squeezed right here in this sort of flag shape, which typically when you're coming from a low and moving up, that's bullish consolidation, and probability is it will break up. But the thing that's got me a little skeptical about that is the BIP 110 or BIP 110, whatever you want to call it, happening this weekend. Of course, we had the cold card hack last week, and it was pretty obvious that it was, a bit of an inside job. For anybody who uses cold card, I apologize, but it was one of the weakest security wallets out there on the market, and kind of was known by lots. It was a Bitcoin only wallet. I did research on it years ago and was pretty quick to dismiss it and to not use it. I can't remember off the top of my head a bunch of the reasons why, but from what I do remember, it has to do with simple security and the seed phrase generator that it uses, and that's how it got hacked, was because the seed phrase generator, during an update that it did, which was your red flag right there. If your hardware wallet needs to do updates or even asks you about doing updates, you don't want to use that hardware wallet. The whole point of having a cold storage hardware wallet is that it's offline. There's no updates when you're offline. It works because it's offline. If anything that you're using is asking you to do updates, that means it's online, and it relies on being online, and it relies on changing.
It's always running in the background.
Exactly.
There's something always going on, a connection always being made, something always being transferred.
Exactly. So it's not cold storage by definition. It's a hot wallet, which means it's your keys, but it's still connected to the internet. Therefore, it's susceptible to manipulation, hacking, whatever you want to say. So when I saw that,
I think wallets were better when there wasn't so many. Now there is a lot more eyes on crypto, so there will be a lot more attempts to take it, right? And that's why you're going to see companies create wallets that they're going to have access to your information.
Yeah, exactly. It's all data mining, right? And so this is something that potentially was a 7-year plan. The interesting thing to me is, why didn't they do this at 120K? They did this at 60K, 65K, right?
Honestly, because it's less. It'll piss you off less. Imagine that happening when even the news is, Bitcoin's at all-time highs, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And versus, Bitcoin's a scam, everybody should get out of it. It's
That's
at
right.
low.
That's right.
That's what they're telling you right now.
Because
so right now is the time to steal it, because when it shoots back up.
Well, that's just it, right? Dollar value is at a psychological low. So
losing it isn't going to feel as bad, I think.
Well, it's not going to cause as much uproar or attention.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like basically, the insiders, that's been the security guard at the museum has been eyeing up this precious piece for ages. He finally got the job where he's the night watchman. He knows how everything works. He took years to get into it. And then, even waited for that piece to not be a main attraction anymore because new things are coming in. But he knows the true value of it. And they moved it into a different room with less security, with less attention. And that's when he waited and decided to take it. It's a long plan, but ultimately kept his eyes on the prize, did whatever he could in his position, right? Did whatever he could in his position to manipulate the masses into thinking something else. And everybody's obviously still just going nuts about the stock market right now, which is
all-time highs,
which
right?
is crazy because I read this morning that even Warren Buffett is starting to allocate, and which is like he sold everything a couple years ago, sort of when we were topping, or a year ago, I guess, like it was not a very good top, I guess, but and he's now getting to the point where he's now not believing that the market is going to crash, to the point where now he's even getting FOMO, and he's like, shit, like I pulled all my money out a year ago or whatever it was, and now the markets really haven't gone down like he expected them to. S&P broke out of our triangle here to the upside with massive like some massive moves here really for the stock market. And again, this is just another example of a move up, a consolidation, and then a move up, a continuation, so to speak.
Say, haven't we seen this before?
Well, this one here, if you look at the indicators, money flowing out, RSI strength getting lower as price gets higher, you know, it's kind of just looks like the beginning of the year type thing. The beginning of the year, sort of end of last year, where price was getting higher but money was flowing out. And I mean, even on the last high that we just made, you know, money flow there was still more money flowing in last summer, a year ago, than there is now, and the price is getting higher. So what is actually happening right now is the same reason why Bitcoin is going up, is that the US dollar is losing value rapidly. And this is where it's reflecting. This is where it's showing, because like same thing goes with Bitcoin. There's a lot of money on the higher time frames. There's a lot of money flowing out, or had been flowing out. I mean, a little bit flowing in. The daily actually looks pretty bullish. And like we said last weekend, like that's a long signal right there. When you break above the moving average and then hold it as support, that's a long signal right there. Money flowing, you know, coming up. That's, you know, the charts are undeniable. It doesn't matter what you think or what you want to happen. When you look at the charts and they tell you what's likely to happen, you got to listen or you're going to get burned. It's like at this point here, we know that 67K is our high volume node. We tested it here, got rejected, tested it here, got rejected. But ultimately, and this is kind of what I want to pay attention to a lot, because although on the smaller time frames we come up, we consolidate, we break up, continuing the uptrend, this is still, however, on the higher time frames, a downtrend. So really got to pay attention to this. A lot of people are talking
what's been
about
worrying me around this 65 mark.
Right. So we come down and then we do the consolidation. And, you know, if you were looking at it, it's in reverse on a lower time frame, it'd be exactly what we just saw. And so this kind of still points to continuation down at the moment. We would have to break up in here and break up in here, because just like the lower time frames, you want to see reclaim of these spots where clearly people are selling. The reason why this happens is because there's a big whale selling right here, big whale selling right here. So the price gets pushed down every time it goes up to their order. Now, if there's whales down here buying and they keep pushing it back up, okay, well, we've made a higher low here. We have to continue up and take this high out for confirmation that this whale is done selling. Their order was fully filled. So until that happens, this could easily just be another push up towards their order, have it be filled before moving lower one more time. And not saying that that's going to happen. Even if we go to the weekly time frame here, a lot of people are saying that we are breaking out of the trend from the all-time high. Don't see that happening yet, personally. This is the trend line that I have seen people talk about. Even if we do take it off logarithmic, It's still not quite there. However, we do have momentum coming up. We do have bullish divergence on the weekly. We do have historical bottom signals on the weekly time frame. We talked about this last time. Last cycle this happened. This was very close to the low. It wasn't the actual low. We did have one more low that was a quick FTX collapse scenario where it was more news based than technical based. And so you gotta kind of put 2 and 2 together here and say, okay, well, the charts are starting to scream bottom is near, but the news is trying to do everything they can to scare people out, to talking about hacks. We have this.
And it's working, I know.
Well,
I've met a lot of people who had a little bit of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And now they don't even talk about it. They sold it all. They don't believe in it, right? But I can promise you that the next time that is talked positive about in the news, they'll be right back on it.
So I'm not giving up yet.
No.
This to me looks exactly like what's happened every bear market. Right near the bottom is where everything starts to become the worst, to look the worst, to see like this is it, Bitcoin is dead, right? And the same thing happened with gold. And that is kind of the whole point that I'm kind of trying to want to make, I believe. What did I name this one? Same story, different century. It's because the same thing happened with gold 100 years ago. And in the 30s, people were forced to turn in their gold for US dollars, given whatever it was, $20 an ounce. And then after all the gold was collected, government repriced it to $35 an ounce overnight. So you have to understand that the same thing is going to happen here because it's the same scenario. The people start to realize that the currency that they're using is fake, made up, has no actual real value. The only value it has is people.
It gives you peace of mind, basically.
Well, just people agreeing on it, but the more and more people are losing faith in the dollar, right? So what happened in the 30s was the Federal Reserve was backing the dollar 1-to-1 for ounce of gold. It was supposed to be the hard money that was going to be world global currency, world reserve currency. But then they started to realize that they didn't have as much gold as money they wanted to print to develop to get us out of the Great Depression. And so that's kind of what happened, was they started printing more money than gold they had. People were starting to realize it. Obviously the big wigs knew what was going to happen before. So they start, making all these rules and coming up with, hey, like, get rid of the gold. You don't want that gold. You don't want that gold. But then turns out that, they were just lying to you. And they made it seem like the gold was not going to have a future. That's what at the time in the news and in the tabloids and all that, they made it seem like gold was not going to have a future. They told everybody to give them the gold, and we'll give you US dollars because it's all going to be about US dollars. And everybody did.
It was about transportation and ease of transferring
absolutely
value.
Absolutely.
That's how they sold it to them. Oh, well, here's this paper money you can use, or these coins, and we'll keep all your heavy gold that you don't want to lug around and move or do
very
anything
inconvenient
with. Yeah,
absolutely.
It was all about convenience. They'll always sell you convenience to steal from you, basically.
So the same thing that's happening right now is they're going to try and take your Bitcoin to offer you a digital US dollar, right? That's obvious.
Canada's doing it.
That's obvious.
Canada released its stable coin.
Yeah. So it's obvious what's happening here. And the thing you can't fade, the thing that you can't lose track of is that they're doing this to accumulate your Bitcoin. They are still trying to accumulate Bitcoin. If it didn't have any value, they wouldn't be trying to accumulate it, right?
Yeah, they wouldn't care about it.
They wouldn't care about it. Exactly. There would be absolutely no threat. There would be no worry. There would be nothing of this sort. You wouldn't see hacks happening on large scales. You wouldn't see people like Saylor selling Bitcoin and publicly, shaking up the space in doing so, right? Basically trying to make people lose their confidence in it, right? That's the whole point. But what it comes down to it is that they're doing this to accumulate it, and you can't forget that. So like I've heard many people say, and I've said before, it's like Bitcoin is for billionaires. Okay.
No,
It is though. It is for billionaires because
it's for everyone.
It was supposed to be for everybody, but we're seeing it become only for billionaires, because who needs to move millions of dollars around on a regular basis? Like, do you? I don't move millions on a not yet.
No.
Not yet. I will one day.
I don't need to. I'm not trading with that yet, right?
But the thing is that these guys are, whether it's countries, governments, we're talking about large entities here. Bitcoin is valuable.
If they control it, they can sell you their own currency.
Bitcoin is so exactly. Bitcoin is so valuable to them because they can do that. They don't want to be doing wire transfers. They don't want to be doing what's that other one? Spike, Sprint. I can't remember the other one that they use.
They're all useless. I just
exactly right. It's
so far out of that system now.
Yeah. It's just something you really can't fade what's happening right now, because it's so blatantly obvious, especially if you understand what happened 100 years ago. It's like, you guys, we were talking about this before. It's like the decades are so clearly distinct from one another, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, etc. The centuries are just as distinct. If you look back at the 1800s, the 1700s, 1600s, we have the 1900s, and now we're in the millennial. It's like it's almost undeniable that the narrative, there's a narrative. It's clear. It's like it's written in a book, and it's almost too perfect to like really, a lot of people get just caught up in the day to day, so they don't think big like that. But if you really try and wrap your mind around thousands of years history and dissect it like that, everything is just way too perfect.
Well, and you also have to remember, like, you live within a little 15-kilometer radius, of your life in reality for the most part. That there's so much more going on out in the world.
Yeah,
that is happening. That you really do got to open your mind to, oh well, maybe there are certain things going on that normal people won't know about.
Well, normal people don't have time to think about it, right? That's the whole point. Keep them busy.
Keep you so busy, you don't have time.
Keep them busy, keep them in debt. And it's not until you understand how to break free of that debt trap that you have the time to think about this stuff. And that's why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, because the poor are busy staying poor and, consuming crap, while the rich have time to understand what to invest in, pay attention to what's happening tomorrow so they can invest into it today, and that type of stuff. And then that's literally all it is the time. And of course, the poor will just spend all their time working, and then, I worked all day, so I'm going to just watch TV and, unplug.
You're also sold a lie, your entire life. Pretty much every parent, I'm sure, told their kid, put money in the bank in a savings account and save up for a down payment for a house and do this and do that.
Yeah.
But I'll bet you not one parent sat there and said, what you should do is actually save your money, buy a stock, invest, do this, let your money grow. And that's how you build your down payment.
Do some research on a company. Figure out.
Leave your dollars in the bank where they get devalued every year and try to save up for something. It's insane.
And the whole thing about like what's happening with the US dollar right now is by design. Trump's been like honestly screaming it. He's been saying it at every time. They want the US dollar to be weak. They're over having a strong dollar. They want to have a strong market, and the market is valued in US dollars. So the easiest way to make it look like you have a strong market is devalue your dollar. This is why we see this happening right now. Literally as we speak, people are still finding this out. This is breaking news, if you will. The BIP 110 required 55% miner signaling threshold. And it didn't work. This was supposed to keep Bitcoin decentralized and not allow things like ordinals and stuff like that basically blocked the network, it congested the network, and made network fees. I don't know if you remember a few years ago when ordinals hit the market. I had network fees were like $50 on
Yeah,
Bitcoin.
they were ridiculous.
It's
I
like,
refused
what?
to transfer Bitcoin.
What? Right? Is it because the network got so congested with a bunch of crap? And so this was supposed to block that, and it did. It worked for a year. But now, since, like you were saying before we started the stream, everybody should be running a node to truly keep decentralization. And what's happening is not, obviously not everybody is running a node. And
no, that's the point of their data centers.
Exactly.
So one person can buy the land, run the data center, and then they own it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus everybody contributing to something. That's the thing that the world will never get on, though. That's the problem. Everybody is out for themselves. Right? Nobody wants to. Imagine that, just working together, everybody simply getting a node, running that, and now there's no data centers, there's none of this crap. I mean, there's still...
I have the answer. Vancouver is looking to be a part of the MLB expansion to get a Major League Baseball team in Vancouver.
What?
Mayor Kim has been talking about Bitcoin for years and talking about putting it on Vancouver's balance sheet, and I think maybe actually has. Don't quote me on that. Maybe do your own research. But whether he has or he hasn't, he's been talking about it and he wants to do it. So if Vancouver adopts a Major League Baseball team in the expansion, calls them the Vancouver Sats, and keeps it as a Bitcoin themed, slightly, not over the top, but just a nice, mellow Bitcoin themed. Maybe they're a tinge of orange, and the Vancouver Sats.
You go with like the black and orange, like the old Canucks,
right?
Black, orange,
exactly, something like that. That would be fucking awesome. And they call them the Vancouver Sats, and then people start rallying behind the team, not only to realize as they get more excited about the sport, because we all know that sports bring us together. We all know that we can come together on with sports. Then people will start to realize that, hey, this was all Bitcoin based, and everything that we have here was, something real worth fighting for, not just a game. This is life we're talking about here. And
this is it's a whole new currency. Like, this is a whole new life. It's not just money, it's like your freedom.
Exactly.
Right? You don't want to work 5 days a week anymore. You want to spend more time with your family.
Yeah. Well, this is that.
Stop being part of this. You spend more time.
That's just
with
it.
People at work than you do your own family in your life. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And we see people rallying and going nuts over sports, like literally massive movements, people huge over sports. It's like, so here we go. Here's our opportunity to blend the two together, to awake the masses of reality. And maybe the Trojan horse is a game, but ultimately it doesn't really matter, because intentions are to actually provide a future. So right now, the way things are going, we have no future. It's going to be the exact same, continuing on day by day. There's no future. The way that we are on a fiat standard, the way that the world is working right now, just milking everybody, the middle class, lying to the middle class, manipulating the middle class, and not letting them know that they're actually the serving class. You guys, wake up. But there is no future here, and that is the idea. They don't want there to be a future. They don't want change. It works out just fine for them. You do all the work. They come up with these ideas, create jobs. That's what you're told. And you build their cities. You build their bridges. You do all the things
it's true.
And then you praise them because they put themselves on their front page of their newspaper, or front page of their magazine, right? You got to always understand who owns it. And it's so funny just like talking about this type of stuff, because I found out how the world works through being in a band, because I was like, oh man, how come some of these bands are just doing so well? Like, they're not that good. And it's like, it's because they own, or the company that's representing them owns the awards that they are giving out. Like, everything's in the inner circle, right? They're not actually achieving these things based on the public's votes or the public's attention. It's like Motor Trend Truck of the Year giving Chevy the award. It's like, of course, it's their truck, it's their award. Nobody else contends for it. The
crazy thing is we actually saw this growing up, and you saw it just at music awards, simply in the music that we listen to. You're like, who the hell's that? How did they win an award? I've never
Yeah.
heard anything they've done. And yet your favorite artist is even sitting there going, yeah, it's rigged.
Oh yeah.
I'm never going to go to those again. Like I've told them, don't ever invite me. It's a joke.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the time you see a lot of new artists in these things because they don't know yet. And they're like, oh, wow, we're doing it. Like, and then a lot of the time the new artists only last 1 year. You never see them again because once they find out the reality of the situation, they're like, this is fucked. I'm out of here. Right? Or they try and fight it and they get kicked out because like, hey, if you don't play the game, you're out. Right? If you don't do what we tell you to do, you're out. Right? There's not very many bands out there that drank the Kool-Aid, so to speak, and then continued on to have a real personal sort of, career after that. It's all controlled. It's all you do as I say, or you are no longer. Right. And so it's the same thing with the politicians. Right. It's all the same. It's on every single scale. There's a group of people, whether you're in finance, whether you're in
they're called lobbyists.
Politics.
Everyone forgets that lobbyists exist. They're above the politicians. They're the ones that are being paid by the companies to say, get our politicians to do this.
This is capitalism by definition. Right. The money controls everything. That's it. The capital is above everything. So whoever has the money controls everything. And so
find out who the lobbyists are, and that's the people who are really telling the politicians what to do next.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter whether they're blue or red or orange or white or black. It has absolutely no effect. And unfortunately, neither does your vote at the ballot sheet. You vote with your dollar. Because
I can honestly tell you that because I did work in elections. I worked 1 elections, lost my mind, everything they taught me, and I was like, this entire thing is rigged, and you're teaching us that it's rigged, and you're still not seeing how it's rigged.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, because you can't say anything or you're out. Right? Like that's their job. They're poor. They have bills to pay. They can't.
Yeah.
They're trapped.
Exactly. I'm like, you guys all just go along with this. You can simply just say, no, screw it.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't know what to do afterwards, right? Because they all just need to be told what to do. Very little people can think for themselves, problem solve on their own, figure out what they can do or what they can and can't do or what they're going to have to do to get what they have achieved. They just sit around and wait for instruction, right? It's very hard for people these days, especially with mass distraction, manipulation, brainwashing. If you don't use your mind, somebody else will, plain and simple. And we are electrical beings, so it's already figured out. The CIA already figured out how to do it, 70 plus years ago, and it's just been working for them forever. Like it's undeniable. The documents are declassified now because then they can only classify them for 50 years, but they just hope that something else will come up that will take your attention away.
That's what the news is for, right? To distract you from all the released files that they don't want you to know.
And this entire war that's happening right now in the Middle East and every other war that's happened in the Middle East, it's all just to distract you from the reality of what's actually going on. And for whatever reason, people tend to just eat it right up. And we're talking like $4 trillion. What are we, like 5 or 6 months into this? 5 months into this war that they said would last us several weeks, and $4 trillion that the United States has spent.
Think of all the money that could have been solved right there with that, but they spent it on a war. Right?
And the thing is like that not that much money was even spent on the war. That number is artificial. That number is. That's what's missing from the books. Don't get me wrong. That money's gone, but it didn't all go to the war. Like you got to give your head a shake. Think about $1 trillion. Just look at some of the stuff that China's done with $1 trillion. They've built massive bridges, massive infrastructure, full-on renewable energy plants, like all for less than $1 trillion. And we're talking about.
I know, and it's kind of a shitty way because nobody wants their BS communist crap here. But the one nice thing about it is, rather than politicians sitting around doing nothing and fighting each other like a bunch of 5-year-olds, they all agree on getting things done, and then they go and they do it.
For better or for worse. Yeah, for better or for worse.
I know it's not what you want, but I'd like to see a place where we could actually work together and just decide on one thing and then go, okay, compromise on both sides here. Let's build.
The only way that could possibly happen is if we have equal education, which we don't. The majority of people get a structured education system that puts them in a place where they will have a very hard time ever getting out of from day one. And it just kills me to watch my kids go to public school and then get taught these things. Like they basically they teach them. Well, they teach them to avoid adversity. It's like they want to make sure everybody feels good. They want to make sure everybody's happy. It's like that doesn't teach you anything. That doesn't teach you anything. If there's a problem, the kid needs to face the problem. Don't try and avoid. Don't like the whole like anti-bullying and all this stuff. It's like, I get it, but you have to let kids struggle.
That's what made kids tough.
Exactly. You have to let kids struggle because you have to let them think about how they're gonna, like their brains are growing, right? So
here's the other thing. Do you really think that when you go into your blue collar workplace, you're not going to be bullied? Like, for God's sakes, if you need to grow up around the stuff, you know, and become emotionally mature with it too.
We're seeing it. We're seeing it now because as the new generation enters the workforce, they have no idea. I mean, I remember when we were in school, it was like kind of like that, but they're like, well, once you get into the real world, it's going to be different. And they would always say that the real world. Like we knew that school wasn't real because all the teachers would be like, well, in the real world, that's not going to fly. Right? It's like, well, what the hell are we doing here? If this isn't,
we got told,
you know, but what's the whole point of school then? If this isn't the real world, why am I here? I'm wasting my time. Right. And then that's why you have the people that
got a job.
Well, that's just it, right? The people that dropped out of school earlier and got a job are the ones that are the business owners, the ones that are doing, they're already retired.
It's actually nuts to see. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So the longer you go to school, the worse off it tends to be for you. And the unfortunate thing is that you have people who have pieces of paper that say they did a lot of regurgitating of information. They read a lot of books. They sat and listened to a lot of lectures, but they still can't think for themselves. But they are now told that because they did all this, they're now smarter than most of the people and they shouldn't listen to what anybody else says because they did the hard work. And it's like, dude, I don't want to throw anybody under a bus, but I've talked to multiple doctors in the past years, and I can just tell, like, I know what's happening here. You don't, right? You're supposed, your job.
God, somebody else sees that.
Your job is just to try and figure out what's happening here. But I already know what's happening here because I can think for myself. But you won't listen to me, even though this is my body or my family or whatever it is. It's like, your job is to try and figure it out, and you think that you know more than me about my own body.
That's not their job. Man, their job is they know what the problem is because you've told them, for one. Their job now is to find 5 other problems that relate those same symptoms, then give you those 5 plans, sell you all the crap that comes along with it, and then weed it out and go, okay, well, those aren't the problem, so let's actually go back to the original thing we thought. Oh, that is.
But the unfortunate thing is just the ignorance that they won't listen to, you know. But you're right, like they have a certain plan and an agenda that they want to, you know, for them to look out. Like you said, they're out for themselves, but like they honestly don't. A lot of them, not all of them, of course, everyone is different, but the majority of them, because of the indoctrination of the education system, believe that whatever this person's saying, they don't know what they're talking about. I'm a doctor. I'm the one that knows, right? Like, exactly. So it's like, dude, I can tell that you're great at regurgitating information, but my IQ is clearly higher than yours. I didn't go to school for years like you did, but I can clearly, let's look at our brains. Let's get CT scans. Let's both look at our brains.
That's
go
where
EEG.
I just go at any point.
Let's both go in an EEG machine and see who's got more brain activity, bro. Like I've got more neural connections than you, and I can tell. My aura is brighter than yours, and I can tell. You have a piece of paper, good for you. That piece of paper is, I guess, got you where you are today, but ultimately I can't take any information from you seriously because I can tell that I'm talking to a brick wall. You know what I mean? Because their mind is closed. They're not willing to accept anything else other than what they were taught because they were told that they shouldn't. And that, oh, you got to watch out for all these people out here who think like, oh, you know, like don't listen to the naturopaths and all these people that have been, and you know, like ancient Chinese medicine and all this stuff that's been working for thousands of years. No.
Yeah.
North American medicine, that's where it's at. We are the elite. We are the state of the art. It's like, no, it's all
and here's
capitalism,
the
financially based. Like,
with
come on, man.
with all that ancient stuff, because I mean, I love it. I do it. The other thing you got to remember is they weren't sitting around eating McDonald's every day.
Oh, no.
Right? They were eating healthy food in order for their body to, you know, be able to. They weren't developing the diseases that you're kind of developing today from your processed foods and all the crap you're stuffing in your body these days, right? So that's, you know, but if you eat healthy and you take care of yourself and you do that stuff, then yeah, I mean, all that ancient medicine stuff is gonna work, and it works well.
Well, it worked for thousands of years. We've only had these problems. It's like when I hear people say that, oh, cancer runs in your family. Like, what are you talking about, man? Cancer's only been around for since the Rockefeller Foundation took everything over. How can it run in my family if it's only been 2 generations?
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's really just a North American problem. You go to Japan, you go to these other places, they don't have cancer.
No,
like we
smoked for their whole life, and they got no lung cancer over there. Like,
yeah, I smoke these 10
and they got
cigars a day
terrible
that we
air
personally
quality.
roll and grow here.
Yeah.
Nothing happens.
No, it's obviously the food, is because the same companies that owned the tobacco companies that were killing people, that but finally got driven out, bought the food companies, and they put all the same shit in the food. And guess what? They also own all the healthcare system and and the education system. It's like it's all lined up to profit them and them only. We're just,
you really have to remove yourself from or at least remove yourself and look at it from an outside perspective. Imagine if you were living in a different country and you had to come here. Well, seriously take a look at the country.
Yeah.
And what's going on. Right?
And most people don't see it for what it is, and they have a hard time seeing it for what it is because they see things on TV that they believe, oh, well, like that's what it's like, right? Like that's what it's like. Even though they're looking right at a camp of homeless people doing drugs, laying on the ground, an absolute disgusting scene. They're like, that's just those guys right there. That happens everywhere. It's like, it must be like I saw on TV. It must be. Where is it, right? Like, well, you're gonna keep searching for quite a while, man, because it's unless you are in the ruling class, that's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. So you got to be born into that stuff, because the only people that are rich these days are the people whose parents were rich. That's kind of how it works. And that's how it's always has worked, because they don't want competition. They don't want to have a free market, so to speak. They don't want you part of their gig. They don't want resistance. Why would they? And they know that. And they also know that there's a lot more of us than there is them. So they want to keep you sick.
Well, which is why everybody is so divided, because they give you different teams to pick and then hate each other, right? Different ideas.
Yeah. But I mean, all in all, it's pretty obvious when you do your own research. And folks, I've said this 100 times and I'll never stop saying it. Do your own research. Nothing I do or say should be taken as financial advice, but it's not that hard. Once you remove yourself from the situation, understanding that you are simply just a product to be milked for all of your energy, all of your frequency, and then you break free of what some people call the matrix. It's not. That's just a term. It's a metaphor. You're never gonna break free of the matrix. And if you want to use it as a metaphor, take it this way: when Neo found out that he was in the Matrix, he didn't break out of the Matrix. He understood how to play the game, and he realized that he controlled the game. And so that's the biggest thing that people are misunderstanding here. It's like, the goal isn't to break free. The goal is to understand and control. You can control your own destiny if you understand and believe that it actually works that way. But everything that you see in society, everything that you see in a city, is designed to make you believe the complete opposite. That's why
distract you.
That's why one of the best healing things you can do.
They don't want to educate you, right? This is again why you don't see all these great useful educational tips that would get you interested into getting a better life and bettering yourself and possibly generations of your family.
Yeah, and that's why going into nature and spending time with trees and natural things in general is one of the most healing things you can do, aside from certain frequencies. 432 frequency, which is
that's what I used to tune my guitar into. I never
well, that's
did the
just it.
440.
So it's like
I always did 432.
430.
So
Yeah,
it's
right
like
now,
drop
I think they got. I can't remember right now. I used to do a bunch of this when I was writing songs, because there's certain songs like you hear all the time, and you know that those songs are like Journey, Don't Stop Believing, Let It Go, all these songs that are super popular. They're the same chord progression, and it's basically just a C. What is it? C, F, G, A in there. Like, the thing is, though, it's like C is 1, but they've restructured the Hertz system to make it that A is 1, but it was never that way. Like C. So I can't remember how long ago, and again, don't quote me on this. Do your own research. I'm just trying to be the guy that is exposing you to
brings your attention.
I'm trying to bring your attention to it, but yeah, it's just like it was manipulated for a reason. So A is not 1, C is 1. So therefore A used to be C a while ago, and now they've redone, not necessarily, but like, I mean, I got a piano right here in front of me, and it's like, if you just look at the way it's all laid out here, it was laid out a long time ago, and you would put a this is a C, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. This is a G here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There you go. So it's like, if this was A, B, C, D, E, F, G, would it still work? Yes, it would. But for whatever reason, because of the frequencies and because of the certain frequencies that are more beneficial to you, they didn't want people actually being exposed to something that's going to contradict everything that they're trying to do, right? Because they knew that was not good for their agenda, so they had to change it. Just like Bitcoin is not good for their agenda, so they have to change it, right? It's like all these things that come up that are actually developed, decentralized by certain individuals, that gets in the way, they end up buying it out. Like, they ignore it, they laugh at you, and then they fight you, and then they realize they can't, so they buy everything they can, and then they control it, right? So gold.
Where's XRP at now, right? He got bought out.
Exactly, and XRP got bought out a long time ago, and that's why the SEC was.
That's why you don't hear about it anymore,
right? That's like. There it is.
Oh yeah, you're done.
Like that. Those 4 chords are hundreds of songs.
They're every pop song, every popular song that's ever been created is right there.
Yeah, pretty much within those 4 chords, and then you throw a minor in there and kind of mess with the head a little bit and keep your attention. It's just like psychology is so much of everything, and that's what they use to run algorithms, right? Like, if your social media feed is algorithmically driven, you have to understand that your life is also algorithmically driven. Algorithmic manifestation, they're the same thing.
That's why I turn off all my personalizations on Google, anything. Like, I'm just that person. I don't want to. If they want my data, you got to pay for it. Sorry, I'm not selling it.
Yeah. And it's just
but it keeps it so that way there's different things coming through your feed, right?
Yeah.
I'm not always exposed to an algorithm that's trying to feed me crap.
Yeah.
I'm being exposed to tons of different things, both sides. Like, it doesn't matter.
Of course,
I want knowledge.
Because especially with AI now, a lot of people don't realize that AI is just meant to please you. So whatever you believe or whatever you think to be real, AI will just keep feeding you that narrative. So
you have to correct it. You have to actually tell it that it's wrong.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then, it's not whatever AI says is fact.
Yes, you have to
AI
definitely understand
is
that.
very, very new and still learning.
Yeah, and which is also scary, but you have to remember that you as a human being are in control of your AI, not the other way around, right? So it's trying to learn from your patterns and your behavior. But if you're predictable, then it's going to be easy for the AI to learn. But if you are doing, like you said, telling it it's wrong when it is wrong, because it's not always right, it's just trying to predict what you want to hear. That's all it's doing. It's not
like
even
if you ask it for a certain website and it shows you one that you don't like, literally tell it that it's wrong.
Yeah.
Be like, no.
And then you know what it'll do?
Send me another one. Tell it it's wrong.
Yeah.
That's how it codes itself.
And then the second you tell it it's wrong, it goes, actually, you're totally right. Sorry. Right? Like it knew what it was doing. It's trying to please you. That's it. It's not trying to give you the divine information. It's not trying to give you what's actually going to benefit you, unless that's what your algorithm has been programmed to do, right? So if you manifest your life and do the things and surround yourself with the people, you will go in that direction. I am living proof. Years ago, I was a bum of a rock star with freaking massive beard and long hair and played in a touring band that kicked ass, but I didn't care about tomorrow. And here I am 10, 15 years later, and I just had dinner with Bill Gates on Friday. I wasn't sitting at the same table, but we were in the same room.
You should throw some other names out around there other than his.
Yeah, well, I guess we didn't really talk about it yet, but he didn't seem too impressed. Nobody really wanted to talk to him. I kind of felt bad for the guy, to be honest with you. Money does not buy happiness. That is confirmed, because he seemed quite depressed. And I honestly was like, shit, man. Like, I know everybody's been shitting on you, but I feel like I kind of want to just be like, hey, man, are you okay? Like, I felt bad.
Like, oh, poor Bill Gates needs a hug.
Yeah, poor Bill. I'm sure he hasn't had a hug in ages. He hasn't had a hug that he hasn't paid for. Let's say that.
There you go. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, obviously, a lot of people talk about him.
It's eating at him finally.
Well, yeah, man. Maybe it has been for a long time. Who knows? I kind of want to just be like, hey, man, like what, like, are you still into computers? Like, what do you do now? You know what I mean? Because now I'm all into computers and coding and all this stuff. I'm like, man, I want to talk to, is the Bill Gates from the 80s still in there?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
The kid that was super inspired to create Microsoft and do all this stuff and whatever else. It's like, is he still in there, or are you just on like global affairs now and don't really care? But it's like, yeah, I don't know. It was odd. It was very odd. Like, Harry and Meghan, I think is her name. Like, they were there. They were super chill. Like, they were smiles on their face, having a good time, danced to the music, enjoying themselves, like regular people. And I mean, they left the royal family because of obviously the manipulation and the control and all this type of stuff that they've been doing for a long time. And so they're obviously more real people than anybody in that family, and that's why they did what they did. But they're still obviously, like, they're still treated royally. And it's like, I mean, when I didn't stop and talk to him, but when he walked by me, I just gave him a head nod and he smiled and said, hey. And so did Meghan. And I was like, hey guys, and then because they were, walking by to go talk to somebody else or whatever. But it's like,
did you have the old hands in the pockets?
Hands in the pockets? No.
Yeah, apparently it's an old, I think it's an Irish thing or something that they don't like the royal family. So they stick their hands in their pockets for something because they made it illegal for them to.
Really?
It's an old time.
Don't show them your hands.
Yeah, you don't show them your hands. You leave them in your pocket. It's a sign of disrespect.
No, well, see, I wouldn't disrespect them because they have done is, they're against the ruling class, right? They're against the ruling class. They were chill. When I briefly talked to them and, saw them, they seemed just like regular people. Like, I'm pretty good at picking up vibes. I can see people's auras. And they had strong auras. They seemed like great people, good energy, good frequency. Bill Gates did not. He seemed like his aura was turned off completely. He was
nothing there anymore.
No, it was
man.
dark.
It's
It was
like,
very dark.
After everything he's lived through, that guy's got to be empty as hell.
Yeah, I mean, and then there was a bunch of celebrities there, a bunch of people tossing around millions of dollars and stuff, and there was a lot of people who auras were bright, very bright, lots of shining high frequencies in the room, but it was clearly obvious Bill was there alone, and he left alone. I thought it was quite surprising. Like, really? Like, not even like an entourage or anything. Everybody had security. So it was like he had his one, like every table, we even had security at our table. It's just like, it makes sense in a situation like that. Everybody had 2 waiters and 2 security at every table. And it's like, when he had to go to the bathroom, he took a security guard with him. It was pretty funny. We were standing just around the corner outside the bathroom when he walked by, and I was like, holy shit, there he is. It was a bit of a trip for the first time. But then after that, he came out and he went back in shortly, and then he sat down and he got right back up and he's like, no, that's it, I'm out. He didn't even stay for dessert. And the one security guard escorted to his room or yacht, or I'm not sure where he was staying, but I was just like, man, he was like a dark cloud was following him everywhere he went. And I could tell. It was like, man, like, I felt bad for the guy, but what do you do, right? What do you do? I know he's not everyone's favorite person right now, but it's like he's still, I don't know, he was still at this event. I don't know. I didn't get the story. I would love to have talked to him and try to get his side of the story, because just like anything, if you only get one side of the story, you're only going to get one side of the story. And I'm,
Mm-hmm. Well, you're told about them what they want you to be told about them, right?
Yeah.
There's another side that you're never going to hear. I mean, it obviously will probably not make up for any facts, but you still got to listen to both sides.
Yeah, exactly. I would much rather make a opinion that I would actually stand by. I'd be more comfortable on an opinion if I had both sides, regardless, right? So,
or an opinion based on your own merits, right? Not what somebody told you about something or someone.
Exactly. So, but ultimately, all in all, since we are just breaching an hour here, this is just looking to me like the typical bottom of a bear market. Really, everybody thinks that something's going to fall apart. Everything's going to fall apart. As far as Bitcoin goes, anyways, this traditional stock market, not looking too good. If we go back to the S&P here, money's flowing out. We're breaking up, but this needs to be a strong breakout for this to be for any. So when you see these breakouts, you want to see continuation. If we don't see, whoa, excuse me. If we don't see continuation like really quick here, if you look here, we'll see a breakdown, a move up, a breakdown, a move up. Each one of these move ups is losing weight, as you can tell.
Yeah.
Each one's getting smaller than the last, which is basically a sign that we're losing weakness, and you can see it on the RSIs. This one went up here, this one only went up here, this one didn't even breach. Like, this is bearish divergence happening here on the traditional stock market, with money flow high in the red but trending out, massive red dots. It's just on a technical basis not looking good for the stock market, but you have to remember at the same time they're trying to devalue the US dollar. So that is basically the only thing that is pushing up the stock market right now, is the fact that the dollar is collapsing. And so it's going to be volatile, because at any point now people can just they can rug pull, because it's not like, even though we've seen billions of dollars go into the market, it's not real money. It's printed money to inflate the market. That's all that's happening. So we know that the world reserve currency is changing. And in fact, if you ask me, Bitcoin is the world reserve currency already. We have the BRICS
You
alliance.
just don't know it. They haven't told you yet.
Well, yeah, it's just a little bit interesting to, unfortunately, with this this mining situation, this is kind of like basically this is it, really, because this was the power of the people being taken away, and now Bitcoin is potentially, in the next coming days here, weeks, months, whatever, however long it takes, is going to be fully controlled by the elites. And so, I mean,
and what you mean basically by that is like buying it, sell, like they're gonna own how you try to basically get it.
yeah, exactly, right. They're going to own all the on-off ramps. Decentralization is slipping away when it comes to Bitcoin.
Hit those banks and get those loans and get those ledgers filled up.
Well, that's the thing, is it's really never been a better time.
Valuable it becomes when they take that away.
Yeah, that's just it, right? Well, it'll be just like gold. It'll be repriced. Once everybody is convinced that it's dead, and we're talking like the repricing is going to be huge. Like we're not talking about, oh, we're going to go back to 100K here. When they want to reprice Bitcoin, you could easily go north of 100K in a matter of weeks. You could see weekly candles upwards of $20,000 that are green. And that's going to happen after everybody's given up, right? Because that's how it works. Once they are holding it, once they have accomplished what they are trying to do, that's when you see the bull market continue. So it's
now is consolidation period.
Well, we've been talking about it for a year now. We said that this whole year, all the way up until October, is going to be downward price action, and it has been. I've been bang on to a T. So now we're talking about, when is the bottom, right? Like, when is the exact bottom? Well, do you really need to know when the exact bottom is? Or do you want to just understand how this works on a psychological scale? Because
and how valuable the asset is. That's the other thing. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's 0.01 sat or 0.01 Bitcoin or 1 Bitcoin. It's valuable, and once you have it, you have it. Yeah,
and they clearly want it. So what are you willing to sacrifice to hold on? Like, are you willing, what are you willing to risk? What are you willing to lose? Because a lot of the people who aren't willing to take the risk and get scared are the ones that de-risk, de-leverage, and end up losing it all because they give it away. And then when it's too late, they'll FOMO in and buy the top again. And it's literally happened every 4 years.
I know.
In the traditional markets as well as Bitcoin. I
lost everything in Bitcoin again.
Yeah, right? And then they'll end up buying the top and selling the bottom, and buying the top and selling the bottom. This is the psychological game that has continued to just prove itself for decades. Same thing has happened. Bitcoin has just given us such a clear ability to chart it now that it's starting to make sense to a lot of certain people. I mean, I still get it. Like, I still talk to many people who will ask me a question about Bitcoin or about finance, and I'll be like, oh, okay, we got to check this chart out, because I don't like talking to people unless I can show them charts. It makes a lot more sense for me to be able to be like, see this is support, this is resistance, this is kind of what we're talking about here. But even with the charts, they're like, what the fuck are you talking about, bud? I'm like, well, just keep trying, just keep trying to pay attention to it, and you will understand it. It's just like anything, right? Like, when you were born,
spend your screen time learning rather than trying to be entertained, right?
Absolutely.
Once you spend the few hours learning, the learning becomes entertainment.
Oh yeah. Right? Especially
that website, man, that Bitcoin battle tank, man, that is, I'm going to spend hours just sitting there watching that for the hell of it, doing other computer thing. Like, I mean, that's great.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And even to this day, somebody like us who has been in the space for years, we're still finding new things, and we're still getting excited about being able to learn new things. Right. And that's the difference mostly between people is, like you said, they're chasing entertainment. They're chasing dopamine, easy, quick dopamine fixes that they don't have to put a lot of effort into. They want instant gratification. They don't understand delayed gratification. But I'll tell you right now, for free, delayed gratification is much more valuable and much more satisfying than instant gratification.
Especially when it pays you.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the other part that you forget. The education, the learning part. It pays, and then the pays, it all becomes entertainment. The learning, literally, you will start viewing as entertainment. Mm-hmm. What do I get to see today? What do I get to learn today?
And not only that, the old entertainment that everybody else pays attention to, you start to just realize is just slop. They're like, this
Yeah,
is,
you don't
I'm
even
not
know
getting,
what's going on. I
I'm not
couldn't
getting
tell you
any.
a
Yeah.
thing, a trend, or anything anymore.
Exactly. You start to get nothing from that. And then you don't get any dopamine hit from what other people are getting dopamine hits for. And then they're sending you these reels that they think are hilarious fart jokes. And you're like, dude, what?
You're like, man, do you see my trade last night? You see
Yeah.
what Bitcoin just did? It's like, I know, dude. I can't. There's a lot I can't just do anymore.
Yeah. Like sending me these reels that are like, I would have laughed at this when I was 15, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, I still love South Park. I think that's hilarious. They're intelligent with their jokes, with their fart jokes. But
yeah, but they're great, and I love the way they make fun of Canadians.
Well,
There's
yeah,
nothing better than
absolutely,
half a head, you know?
absolutely. Trey Parker is an amazing writer, and everything he does it's all a metaphor for like what's actually happening. So it's very intelligent comedy, even though it's made to be dirty potty mouth type stuff. It's actually very, very thoughtful and very good writing. So I love that type of stuff. But it's like most of the stuff that people seem to find funny these days is just like so. Oh man,
it's almost very, very mind numbing that you're like, I can't comprehend it.
Yeah. Not getting it, not computing here. Not seeing this.
Like if I go back 20 years, 30 years, maybe.
Yeah.
We're not that age anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's just our brain's working in a different way now. So it doesn't get that dopamine hit from one little silly stupid joke.
Okay, that was great. Now what am I gonna like?
Yeah.
Now what?
But for Bitcoin price here, looking like we want to come up maybe a little bit higher, but for how long is going to be the question, because the RSI here, especially this one here, my Stoke, last time you can see it hit a high. That was the high. This time here, it hit the high that was a local high before making another one. And here we are right at the top here again, as well as coming into resistance on the
Team Red
RSI. So yeah, going to be watching for a move here potentially in the afternoon to, let's see, do we have a heat map? Oh yeah, you're still loading, hey? Interesting.
Actually, speaking of,
I think there was some liquidity up at 65.8, which would make sense if we went up for a little sweep of 65.8 and knock some liquidity off the books. But it is starting to build below, so that's kind of why we see these consolidation. It's time to build liquidity, and this is all liquidity under here now since we've been up here for a while. This is a value area low. It was a nice bounce. Expected to see a POC off of it, which we did. We were back down in the value area low. Will we go up to the POC? I don't think we're going to come up to the value area high until we flip this POC and then continue higher. It just seems to me like, like all the news that's happening right now, they're really still just trying to push Bitcoin down. The only time you see these pumps is just to do short squeeze, liquidate the shorts, the people that are over leveraged and the people that don't want to pay for when Bitcoin does end up going a little bit lower, because like we have been saying on here for over a year, let's check our drawing from the all-time high and see where we're at. Tracking. See, we even have the drawing even has a little uptick right here. Look at that.
Yep.
Look at that. Crazy. So, we still have all of August, September, and a bit of October before I am making any moves, any large moves. I don't really mind what price is. I'm looking at psychology and I'm looking at market structure and market cycles. If we, like you can, every time there's been a bottom, you still get about another year of sideways to slightly increased price action. And like, for instance, last cycle, our bottom was 15K. It was 1 year later, we were only at 28 or 29K, maybe just 30K. So 100% in a year, but that's only a $15,000 increase from that price. So right now, if we do,
and you have to remember though, that was like in percentage wise, that's damn near 100% increase.
Absolutely. But nothing was said about Bitcoin. There was no attention. It did 100% when no one was watching. But even my point I'm making here is, even if you bought at 30K after that 100% increase, you still went to 126K, right?
Yeah.
You still had another 300% from there. So when it comes to the market cycles, the bull cycles last typically 3.5 to 4 years, and the bear cycles typically last 1 year. So we're right on track.
It's not very long. Dude, we've been in this bear market, and I feel like I haven't accumulated as much as I've wanted. I think I've actually sold.
I haven't either, because I haven't really been worried too much, because this is exactly what I anticipated was going to happen.
Yeah.
We hit the top.
I'm still hoping we go lower so I can accumulate everything that I could have been accumulating at the higher prices down lower.
Yeah. But either way, we're going to continue the market cycle, because the US dollar is the reason we haven't gone much lower is simply because of the US dollar. The devaluation of the US dollar is what's holding Bitcoin up right now. And you have to understand, whether it's a decentralized entity or it's controlled by a centralized entity, it is still a capped market supply. So they're not, until we start seeing them add new Bitcoin. Just for instance, the 20 millionth Bitcoin was mined and added to the system just weeks ago. So there is now 20 million Bitcoin in circulation.
Minus like 6 million that are lost.
Right. But the last 1 million will take 144 years to mine.
Yeah.
Right. So you just keep it in that. That's your aspect. Like, it's not like the US dollar.
How valuable your thing is now that the next million are going to be produced over 144 years if you had one of those.
Yeah, it's not like the US dollar where they're printing it indefinitely on a regular basis. Okay, it's now being cut in half almost, every 4 years it gets cut in half, but like when you talk about half-life, if you look at it, it's backwards to compound, right? The faster you get, or the richer you get, the faster you get rich because of compound interest. Well, when it comes to half-life, it takes longer each time, twice as long. So it's like, my computer's not going to load this right now, but either way, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I was going to say GT.
Feeling some GT? Yeah, let's get a GT going, get a round going here.
All right.
But yeah, all in all, folks,
over here. I've been sitting long enough.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, folks. All right. Well, make sure you subscribe and like and do all that fun stuff if you want to stay educated and up to date on what's happening in the financial world. You're going to have to hit the notification bell, because I try to come live Sundays at 11 Pacific Standard Time, but that's not always the case, especially in the summertime when we are potentially away and doing things, trips with the family and all that sort of stuff. I don't spend my money on things. I spend my money on experiences with my family, because that is much more valuable and better for their psychology. Stuff fades, things fade, experiences last a lifetime. And with that being said, folks, have yourself a great day. I wish you well. I wish you wealth, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.
See you later.
I recommend putting your opinions aside and learning how to think logically.